Hey everyone, welcome back to the 6-5 Summit. We are here on day 3 in the ESG and DEI track. I'm Daniel Newman, one of the hosts here at the 6-5, and I'm excited for this next conversation. Justina, welcome to the 6-5 Summit. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Such an important topic. ESG, sustainability in particular has been in focus. It's in the news. It's been part of most companies' vernaculars in a big way over the last couple of years. Talk a little bit to me about sort of how you overall see the state of ESG, of sustainability, and kind of how this is impacting IBM's approach.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right. It has been in the news quite frequently. So ESG is no longer a nice to have, right? It's no longer a bolt-on for companies. This is really something that needs to be integral to the company's purpose and how they're looking at their environmental, social, and governance goals. I think there was a recent study that showed that 76% of CEOs said that this is important. This is something that they need to focus on. So when you think about the broad term sustainability, or when you think about ESG, measuring and evaluating your goals, your commitments, and being transparent, this is something that everyone is focused on right now. So although there's a lot of discussion around it, but most corporations are continuing to move along their ESG journey, whether they're focused on environmental space with net zero goals, whether they're increasing their community impact, or they're focused on creating a more diverse workforce, or whether they're looking at their governance, right, their board, et cetera. Most companies are continuing on that path. At IBM, this is not new for us. I think we launched our first environmental policy in 1971. We recently launched our IBM Impact Framework, which is really 3 pillars focused on environmental impact, equitable impact, and ethical impact. And we have a number of commitments, 10 commitments that we have, we're bringing visibility on across our business along these 3 pillars. And we are very transparent around our progress against our goals.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you to chat a little bit more about the history in a moment, because I find that very interesting. This isn't a all of a sudden thing that the company's focused on, but one of the challenges has been for me as an industry analyst, as someone that's looked at technology, is we evaluate the tech industry and the companies. And during the 2020, 2021 period, when we were all working from home and there was a lot of focus on some of these really important, what I would call social initiatives. They bubbled up because the world was paying attention. And this, I think, was really a good thing. Having said that, at the same time, the economy was thriving on a lot of stimulus, a lot of investment going in. And all of a sudden, and late in 21 and 22, when the economy kind of turned a little bit, we've entered this period of more austerity. Justina, I've noticed some companies have not stayed with it as much. Other companies are really doubling down on it. And then I would say there's even a third bucket of maybe more pragmatic or practical investments in sustainability. Where do you sort of see IBM lying on in terms of their thinking? Are they staying with it?
We are staying with it. I think IBM has a long history in this space. And I think even when you look at diversity and inclusion, or the policies that we've really championed in the D&I space and environmental space, this is not new for us. So I think companies like IBM are steadily continuing our progress against those ESG goals, but this is not new for us. So when you look at some companies and how they're thinking about it, I think the E is an area where a lot of companies now are coming together and saying, okay, we have this net zero goal, right? And most, top companies actually have a commitment around, reducing their carbon emissions. And they can see that this makes a difference. There are cost savings, right, for many companies there. When you look at the social area with community impact and D&I do think that's an area where more companies are trying to figure out what is the bottom line benefit. And I think when you look at employee retention, right, attracting employees, when you think about what's happening across society and making sure you're investing in the communities where you have business or where your employees live, I think it's imperative to make sure you're not losing sight of the work that you have to do there as well. So although I do think a lot more companies are very focused on the E, a lot of regulation is coming around that. Many of them will not have a choice but to really ramp up their efforts in that area. I do think that they're not losing sight of the fact that they also have to do the same around the S. So a company like IBM has been invested in this space for many, many years, and we're going to continue to demonstrate our progress across each of those areas.
And of course, with investments in actual technologies that help measure, you can really look at it from both you being the first customer of your own, technologies, which is something I know IBM has
Yes.
been very focused on.
Exactly, right? When we have products and solutions that we are able to use as client zero, and we're also offering those solutions to our clients as well. Everything from Envisi on how you collect environmental data, analyze that data, and report that data. Our environmental intelligence suite. So there are a lot of products that we are actually using both in our corporate social responsibility initiatives, but also in how we are managing our own ESG efforts.
Yeah, that's great. So you started to kind of delve in a little bit to the history, and you talked about decades ago efforts have been made. Talk a little bit about the history and kind of how that history is building to the program that you're leading for IBM today around sustainability.
Yeah, so I lead our corporate social responsibility efforts in addition to our ESG strategy and reporting. And within corporate social responsibility, we have focused on education, for example, for many, many years. We're a leader in the skills first idea, which is you do not necessarily need a 4-year degree to be able to obtain a high paying tech job. And we've been championing this for many, many years. So when you think about just education and skills, this is something that was very important to us. And we made a commitment to skill 30 million people by 2030. And this is based on the history we have in this space, what our clients are telling us, and what society needs. And we have a program called IBM Skills Build, where we are providing free access to training across a number of tech areas: cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and making sure that we are able to skill people, provide the right credentials and badges, and enable them to get a high-paying job in a tech field. So we are really proud of this, but this is because of our long-term investment in education that started decades ago. When you look at sustainability, the same thing. We have a program called the IBM Sustainability Accelerator, where we are leveraging our solutions, right? Our environmental intelligence suite, our geospatial analytics, the work that we're doing, with providing access to weather data. And we're taking all of these solutions, working with governments and nonprofit organizations to really create solutions that can help very vulnerable communities, those that are going to be the most impacted by the environmental threats and climate change. So again, not new for us. We have a long history in this space, and we are continuing to leverage our technologies, our solutions, and strategically aligning our corporate social responsibility portfolio with the strategies of our business.
Yeah, I really like that you brought up the upskilling in the artificial intelligence era. And you mentioned cyber and data, but I kind of think AI is going to be a horizontal. It's going to
Yes.
overlay everything.
Yes.
First, I think the idea that you need a 4-year degree or a 6 or even 8 years of college to be successful in tech is antiquated. I
Yes.
think the way we learn today, right? I mean, we've already seen very quickly what generative AI can do in terms of skills. There was a period of time where we were told that if you just learn to code, you'll always be employable. And by the way, I still agree that coding is important, but at the same time, we are seeing how quickly a new tech can come in and disrupt an industry. And you go, well, that skill can quickly become antiquated. So, Justina, going back, and I think I learned somewhere along the lines is, 20 years ago, a 2 years into your computer science degree, you would already be what you were learning was already outdated. And that was like 2 decades ago. Just imagine now trying to go to school.
Yes, I joke. So I'm a mechanical engineer, and and I'm dating myself here, but I took Fortran in college. And I think the next year, students were taking C++. So even when you think back to the different computing languages, change was happening already very quickly. I wish I had taken C++ because Fortran was actually very difficult. But I think when you look at AI and the fact that it is going to be very disruptive, I think there's a significant opportunity for us, right? Because just like with any launch of any new technology, it's additive. And when you think about that, like the internet or the PC or even the calculator, right? It always changes how you have to think about learning and how you have to upskill yourself and grow your skills. So this gives us an opportunity, especially through our Skills Build program and other initiatives that we have, to really focus on what is AI going to do and how can we help those communities that have been historically excluded from the tech workforce. How do we make sure they understand how to use it for creating new solutions, for upskilling themselves, for learning new ways that they can actually benefit from it. So I think that gives us a great opportunity as a leader in this space, to really double down on our efforts with the communities that we want to impact the most.
So before we wrap up here, I guess I want to finish off just talking about sustainability as a whole. We talked a little bit about the solutions you develop. We've talked a little bit about kind of your perspective as being part of the leadership within IBM on this very topic. But what about clients? How would you explain the way that IBM is really helping clients to meet their sustainability objectives and goals?
Yeah, so IBM has an end-to-end approach, right? And we really focus on how do you turn clients' ambitions into action. And we do it in a number of different ways. I mean, first, we help them with creating strategies around what they have to do around their sustainability journey. We also help them manage their facilities and really help, with buildings and infrastructure and tracking of assets. We support them with green IT solutions and how do we make sure we're providing a way for them to decrease emissions with their technology. So we do a number of things with clients, leveraging our products like Envizi, Tririga, Maximo, Turbonomic. And this is really a way that we can support them end to end in different ways. If you think about even the supply chain, right? We help them optimize their supply chain. So all of this is part of the services and offerings that we provide to clients as they continue along, focusing on reducing emissions.
Justina, I want to thank you so much for joining me here at the 6.5 Summit. Great conversation. We really did kind of cover the gamut from social to sustainability and, of course, to skilling. And these are all coming and converging very, very quickly. And I think it's important that customers or companies, enterprises, all those that you work with, that we work with, have a strategy for this. They have a vision for this. And they also understand that there's a measurability and accountability to all this that is what makes these things ultimately successful in the wild.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, you heard it here. We're here at day 3 of the 6.5 Summit. Thanks for tuning in. Check out all of our sessions. Stay with us here at the event. We'll see you soon.